on page 7 of the evidence bundle, and just to recap for context, Mr. Matlala had sent you proof of payment of 1.5 million from Medicare to Tamiz.
Correct.
You had acknowledged receipt. There was a call from Mr. Matlala to you, and then you responded in a text at 15:17 on the 4th of February, Morgan sorted. And you confirmed that the Morgan to whom you were referring was Mr. Maumela.
Correct.
How long have you been on first name terms with Mr. Maumela?
Around about 2021, Council, my son and myself were looking for a house in Johannesburg. We found an estate agent, and I was in Mafikeng at the time. My son saw the house, my wife saw the house, only to find this was Mr. Maumela's house. In 2021, we bought it through an estate agent. In 2021, around November, December, we bought this house. I didn't meet Mr. Maumela at that time. He met with my family. I was still in Mafikeng. So for that time, we didn't meet. In about February 2022, there were some issues with the house, and there's a lot of things that needed some work, and he obviously knew who the people were dealing, obviously the contractors and the home entertainment center, the home entertainment system. We then reached out. Mr. Maumela came to the house. That was the first time I met him. He introduced himself. At that time, just introduced himself as Mr. Morgan Maumela. I then explained to him what the challenges with the house were. He was quite friendly and gentleman, and we then started engaging. He started helping me with the house, fixing up the repairs, sorting me out, and in that we became friends from about 2022.
And have you had any business dealings with Mr. Maumela since you became friends?
Yeah, there were a few that we had some deals that were supposed to happen.
That were supposed to happen. Oh,
yes, there was a deal that was supposed to take place.
And what did that deal concern?
It was into a mining operation, and a wash plant and a crushing plant with chrome.
And now, when you said Morgan sorted, you were referring to a payment of 500,000 rands for the benefit of Mr. Maumela.
That's right.
And that payment was to Lutaga Trading Enterprise.
That's right.
Who asked you to pay Mr. Maumela?
Mr. Matlala.
And who asked you to pay Mr. Maumela through Lutaga Trading Enterprise?
Mr. Maumela.
Mr. Maumela asked you to pay Lutaga Trading Enterprise?
Yes.
When did you speak to Mr. Maumela to receive that instruction?
It was before we got that payment. He'd already been talking to me, saying that he has spoken to Mr. Matlala, and that he asked Mr. Matlala that Mr. Matlala needs to pay him his money, and Mr. Matlala said to him he's busy talking to me.
And so, when were these conversations that you had with Mr. Maumela?
So, sometime just before the payments. Feb. Just a few days before the payment.
And he said to you, Mr. Matlala owes me money.
Mr. Matlala approached me and said, look, I need you to pay Mr. Maumela. He wanted me to pay him a big amount, and I said, how do I pay him half of this money? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, you're not paying me, but now you want me to pay 750 of this money. He says, no, Mr. Maumela needs the money. Can you do this? I said, look, I can't do 750. And I then agreed to do 500 because we knew that there were more invoices coming, or he knew, I should say. Let me rephrase it. Mr. Matlala said to me, there's more invoices that are still owed to him, and then he will then top me up on the next payment. But in total, he wanted me to give Mr. Maumela 750,000.
So he wanted you to pay Mr. Maumela 750,000, although you didn't have to pay Mr. Maumela anything, you agreed to pay 500,000.
Yes, at that time, I needed to keep, like I said, I needed to keep Cat happy, and I needed to make sure that on the next payment, I get another payment. So that was what I was looking to do. Keep Mr. Matlala happy, pacify him. I didn't want to make the payment, but he insisted, he asked me, please. So I thought, if I don't do this payment, I might not get a payment on the next one.
And you said Mr. Maumela said that the payment should go to Lutaga.
Yes.
And when did he say that?
It was just after we got paid.
Just after you got paid?
Yeah.
So you got paid you received proof of payment at 1513 on the 4th of February, and at 15:17:21 you texted back, Morgan sorted. So did you call Mr. Maumela in those 4 minutes after you received proof of payment?
No, he knew the payment was in. Mr. Matlala informed him that the payment was in.
Yes, but he only informed Mr. Maumela at 15:13.
Which document are you referring to, Councillor?
If you go to page 535.
It's flagged as what, Mr. Johnson?
At 535, you see that the proof of payment is emailed from Mr. Matlala to Mr. Maumela at 15:13:19. Yes. A couple of seconds after, 7 seconds after it's emailed to you, WhatsApp to you.
Yes.
So between your receiving the proof of payment at 15:13:12 and your text to Mr. Matlala at 15:17 saying Morgan sorted, if you only called Mr. Maumela after you received proof of payment, then it would have had to have been in those 4 minutes.
Councillor, I said after we received payment from SAPS.
After you received payment from SAPS?
After Mr. Matlala received payment from SAPS, not me. After Mr. Matlala received his payment from SAPS.
Yes, but he received his payment from SAPS. If we go back to that payment screen, I think it was on the 4th of February was when payment was going to materialize. We can just...
I think it was on the 31st, somewhere there.
No, that's when the payment was processed. It arrived. So if you go back to that screen...
What page is that, Councillor?
It is...
Page 6.
Page 6 of the evidence bundle.
File 1.
File 1, page 6. So you see straddling pages 5 and 6, there's the screen. which has two dates. The one date is when payment is processed, and the other date is, I think, is when it's going to be deposited in an account. 31st January, 4th of February. But underneath, Mr. Matlala says, confirmed all chicks to be delivered 4 February tomorrow inshallah, and you say, sure, brother.
Yes, the payment reflected on midnight of the 4th.
Midnight of the 4th.
Yes.
So you then, at some stage, called Mr. Maumela to say, I'm ready to pay you.
Mr. Matlala informed him that he's going to be paid on that day. And that's when Mr. Maumela made contact and told me to pay.
Yes, but I'm interested in when you spoke to him, because
it was in the day, like I said, after the payment.
Yes, but and if I understood your evidence correctly, he was the one who said, don't pay me personally, pay Lutaga.
That was his instruction.
Right, and it came from him in a call on the 4th.
That's correct.
Now, this was not your first payment to Lutaga. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if we go to page 499, and that's the bundle 2, file 2 of the evidence bundle.
Yes.
You'll see that between December 2023 and November 2024, Ziggy paid Lutaga 42,427,540, and prior to, over the period August 2024 to March 2025, Tamiz paid Lutaga 3,250,000.
Which 750 was from Mr. Matlala.
750 are these two Matlala payments?
Yes.
Yes. So the net payment from Tamiz to Lutaga was 2.5 million.
That's correct.
Mr. Chairperson, to assist with the transcription, can you just Lutaga's name, just spell it for the record?
Luthaga, Trading Enterprise. Now, why did Ziggy pay Lutaga 42,427,000 over the period December 2023 to November 2024?
Can I elaborate on that, Council? Can I elaborate?
Can you?
Elaborate, can I?
Please do.
Like I said, I met Mr. Maumela in 2022. We did a lot of work on my house together. We became friendly. Mr. Maumela was a gentleman. He was very helpful. Subsequent to that, we became friends. In about 2023, I was discussing a business idea with him going into a mining project, into a wash plant and a crusher plant with a mine. That was the idea that I had, which I shared with him. Mr. Maumela was quite keen on investing with me, and I said to him, okay, it's fine. If it makes sense, and you feel it's good for you, we can go ahead and do this transaction. I then presented a business proposal to him. We then agreed we'll call this vehicle Chrome Core. So the vehicle was going to be called Chrome Core, and one of my entities would own 50% of it, and one of his entities would own 50% of the vehicle. We needed to raise money because obviously mining is quite cash intensive and it needs a lot of cash to operate. We then agreed we'd both each raise 50 million and 5 million capital. We agreed on that. Mr. Maumela then said to me, I said to him, look, I will raise my part, you go and raise your part. I then asked him, because he was taking a bit of time and I wanted to move with the project because this was my idea. He then said to me he's going to sell an asset. Once he sells the asset, he'd be able to fund the project. I said, that's fine for me. How much time will it take? He gave me some timelines. And then subsequent to that, he had sold this asset. He then said to me the monies are going to be transferred into a lawyer's trust account. I don't know the name of the lawyer at that time. And then because Chromco was new and we didn't have a bank account, those monies will then be brought into Ziggy as his part of the project.
Sorry. Chromco didn't have a bank account because it's new.
We were still in the process.
So the money that he makes from selling the asset is going to be paid over to Ziggy.
Yeah, it's going to come in as a loan into Ziggy.
And when was this?
This was happening in 2023. Around, I should say, we started talking from about August, October, November. It was quite intensive because there was a lot of meetings, a lot of work. We needed to do a lot of presentations because it was a big amount of money for both parties. So we had to discuss it extensively.
But I still need to understand why Ziggy paid Lutaga 35 million in December 2020.
I'm getting to that, Council. So once the money got transferred to the lawyer's trust account, the money came to me. I was overjoyed now because I could start the project.
And what was the amount of money that came in, the full 50 million?
It was close to about 56, if I'm not mistaken, 56 million.
And just to clarify, that was 56 million that Mr. Maumela paid into the trust account. Or was 56 million?
He just said to me it was the sale of an asset. I don't know.
No, but you said once the money came in. The money that came in was Mr. Maumela's money. It wasn't your joint contributions.
No. That was his money.
And you estimate that amount at 56 million?
It was 56 million and some odd, yes.
Yes.
Subsequent to me receiving the funds, Mr. Maumela then approaches me and tells me that he's got challenges with his current house. He's paying penalties and he's losing R1 million a month on penalties with contractors. So if he could please take some of his money and complete his house, and then he'd bring back the funds so that he could continue with the project. For me, it was a slap in the face because I had committed. I needed to move with the project. I'd made commitments. Now Mr. Maumela is telling me he needs to pull out of the deal. He needs to finish his house. It was his money, so he then asked for a refund and said once he's okay, he'll bring the money back. He then instructed me to pay these monies to Lutaga. And then I said to him, look, Mr. Maumela, you're in breach of contract now. I mean, I've committed. The project needs to start. You now taking your funds. He said, no, I'll come back. I'll make a plan. The monies will come. I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell that. And I had to refund that money.
So you said you pointed out to him he was in breach of contract. Were there written contracts in relation to this venture?
We had a 2-pager that we drew up on that, but we shook hands on the 56, and we said, look, once the assets are bought, we'll then draw up a formal agreement. Once we buy the assets, once we put up the wash plant, once we put up the crusher, and once I bring the plant, the actual yellow metal will then draw up an agreement.
And did you have any lawyers involved at this stage of proceedings?
No, it was just me and Mr. Maumela for now.
And do you have a copy of that 2-pager?
I'll have to check in my office. There was someone in my office, Council, that drew that up.
But that 2-pager, as I understand it, regulated what would happen to 50 million rands of your money. You'd put in 50 million rands.
Sorry?
He put in 56, but you said you came up with the money, you put in 50 million too.
No, I said he put up and I had to put up.
Yes, but his was the 56, you had to put up your own 50.
Also 55.
55,
Yeah.
yes. That two-pager was going to govern what you could and couldn't do with 55 million rands of your money, and what your right of recourse was against Mr. Maumela in respect of 56 million that he'd put in.
Yeah, it was just an agreement saying that we're going to start this venture. This is what we're putting in, and.
Well, we'd like to see that agreement. Can I ask that you arrange to have a copy of that agreement sent through here? Doesn't have to be right now. But, so, he had put in 56 million.
Correct.
And he said he wanted to pay contractors at his house because he was incurring penalties.
Correct.
And even though you had committed 55 million of your own money for this project, you decided, well, you'd give him that money back.
It's his money, counsel. I could not hold on to that money. It's his money. The man said to me he needs it, and he gave me a commitment that in a couple of months he'd bring it back. To date, he never brought it back. He's still in breach. He didn't bring it back. I continue with the project without him. And now, because of that, I had to put up a wash plant, or I have to outsource washing and crushing, which is costing me more money.
And did you ever investigate why Lutaga was the vehicle that he wanted you to put the money into?
Subsequent to that, I then realized Mr. Maumela's got issues with SARS, and he's got some financial issues.
When did you realize that?
When I started asking him to bring his part of the money back.
And when was that?
That was 25 March, somewhere there, the following year.
Sorry, 20?
I have to just check on the payments. It was after the payments, a couple of months after the payments. Around March of 2024, Council.
Is it over?
March of 2024.
Yeah.
So you knew in March of 2024 that he had issues with SARS?
Yeah, I saw some stuff in the media. I was just reading some stuff.
What did you see in the media?
I read about preservation order, something to that effect, yeah.
Right. So you knew that he was subject to a preservation order from March 2024? Well, you knew from March 2024 he was subject to a preservation.
The following year, I knew that he was in a lot of trouble, yes.
Yes. So did you understand that he was asking for payments to be made to Lutaga because that way he could get around the preservation order?
No, I didn't know that.
Well then why did you link the two together? Why did you...
He told me it's his sister's account, and he's got the controlling rights on the account, and the money needs to go there.
So he's got control of that account?
That's what he said to me, yes.
And it's his, although it's nominally his sister's?
That's what he said to me, yes.
And so money that was owed to him, or that was his money, could be put in that account and escape the SARS preservation order that way?
I think this was before the SARS preservation order. The money was transferred before.
Sorry, the money was transferred before the SARS preservation.
The ones in 2023. If I look at it here and I look at the preservation order, yes.
Yes. The 35 million that was transferred on the 12th of December, was transferred just in advance of the preservation order. Of course, you didn't know about the preservation order at that
No,
stage.
I saw it now in my books.
But all of the money that Tamiz transferred, on your version, was transferred with full knowledge of the preservation order.
He asked me to transfer the money. I had to transfer the money.
And you knew at the time that he was subject to a preservation order from SARS.
Well, he just said to me, you can transfer it.
No, we've been through this already. You said that he explained to you that Lutaga was his sister's company, but
Yes.
that he could use the money there.
Yes.
And so that so what you were doing in making the 3.25 million payments from Tamiz to Lutaga, and at the very least, was circumventing a preservation order, is it not?
Chair, my learned friend is now going into territory we thought he was going to go into. Unless he can demonstrate how this links with the mandate of the Commission, these questions are unlawful.
Mr. Chairperson?
Chair, we are interested in the relationship between Mr. Matlala, Mr. Maumela, and this witness. We're interested in how the proceeds of crime move around between those witnesses. We know that Mr. Matlala, at the very least, had influence over certain people within the SAPS. We know that this witness held himself out as someone who had influence over certain people within the SAPS and indeed over the minister. We know also that Mr. Matlala and Mr. Maumela are alleged to have been involved in widespread tender fraud and corruption at the Tembiso Hospital alongside what we see in this case. We are at the very least entitled to investigate whether what we're looking at here is a criminal syndicate engaged in widespread tender fraud and also exercising influence over members of the SAPS. And that's where these questions go.
Chair, that is precisely the point. What you've not heard at all is that any of these funds came from any irregular or unlawful police contract. In fact, you've heard quite to the contrary. You've had loose statements like proceeds of crime. You've had a statement that Matlala and Maumela were involved in tender frauds in hospitals, and that exactly proves the point that this is beyond the scope of this commission. Our learned friend is asking this. We say it as a fishing expedition, and to try and embarrass this witness through matters that have got nothing to do with this commission. You will be better acquainted with your mandate than I am, and none of this comes within that. It's entirely outside the scope of this inquiry, and if this question or line of questioning is permitted, we submit that the Commission will be acting in a way that's contrary to the rule of law and the principle of legality.
At this stage, I will allow the line of questioning. If perhaps down the line submissions are, it's quite early on in the process, and we would prefer to see how matters unfold. We are not closing the window to the possibility of being addressed down the line as to whether, after it all, the evidence should be allowed in the sense of us being able to use it. But it is too late in the day at this stage for us to close the door. Please continue, Mr. Shaskelson.
Chair, may I just then
Yes.
register that my client is advised that he must answer these questions under protest, and on your assurance that if this is revisited, any answers that he gives will be struck and will be regarded as pro non scriptura.
Yes, if in the end we make that order.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Mr. Shaskelson.
The question that you were asked to answer is, do you accept that the payments that were made by Tamiz to Lutaga were payments made to circumvent a SAPS preservation order operating against Mr. Maumela?
SAPS.
Sorry, a SARS preservation order against Mr. Maumela.
Look, I didn't know what was preserved by SARS. I had no idea what was preserved by SARS. Whether the sale was before or after, I was not aware. So when he asked me, I did it. I paid him his money. It was his money.
But your evidence was that he asked you, explaining that his assets were preserved, but that Lutaga was nominally his sister's company, and that you could pay into his sister's company and he would control the funds that went there.
I never said that he told me. He said he has problems with SARS. He never disclosed that he has a preservation order. He said to me he has problems with SARS.
So you weren't aware that there was a preservation order, is your version now?
I only saw the preservation order from your file.
He read in the media, he read certain things in the media.
We'll come back to this if we need to. The record will speak for itself in this regard. There are other questions I want to ask you in relation to Mr. Maumela.
Before you move on, Mr. Shaso, I don't know whether you are still to go back to the 500,000 that was paid to Lutaga.
Yes, we are going to go back
You're
to
going
that.
to come.
We are going to go
All
back
right,
to
let
that.
me wait then, perhaps.
For now, you say you read in the media that Mr. Maumela had problems with SARS.
In March.
March 2024.
Yes.
Yes. Did you read in the same media that Mr. Maumela was alleged to have been involved in fraud at Tembisa Hospital and had been investigated by Babita Diekaran shortly before her murder?
Yes, I'm aware.
So you were aware that there were these allegations against,
Yes.
and you were aware of those allegations from March 2024.
Yes.
Can we come back to the 500,000 that you pay Lutaga in February 2025?
Yeah. Yes.
At this stage, February 2025, you've just been paid the first 1.5 million of 20 million that Mr. Matlala owes you. You're nodding? That's yes.
Yes. Yes.
You are anxious that Mr. Matlala is way behind where he should be in paying you.
Yes.
You are aware that there are press reports of a preservation order against Mr. Maumela.
Yes.
You are aware that there are press reports linking Mr. Maumela and Mr. Matlala to widespread fraud at Tembisa Hospital.
I was aware of that much, yes, at that time, yes.
You are aware that the same press reports link them to the possible murder of Babita Deokaran.
Yes, they were not charged for that, yes.
But there were press reports
Yes.
raising those allegations, right? Why in those circumstances did you choose to pay 500,000, 1/3 of what your first payment was, to Mr. Maumela?
Like I said, Council, before, Mr. Matlala put a lot of pressure. He wanted me to pay 750. And once I saw these newspaper articles, I did not want to get into their crosshairs. And when I looked at these articles, I said to Mr. Matlala, it's fine. I can't pay 750. What I'll do is I'll pay 500. I cannot do 750.
Why did you pay anything at all? This man owed you money, large amounts of it.
Yes, but there were more invoices coming, and he promised me that on the next payments, he'd do good and give me a top-up on that. So,
You understood yourself to have an agreement with Mr. Matlala that he would repay you 20 million rands out of invoices
over 3 years.
over 3 years.
Correct.
You were worried that he wasn't doing that.
Yes.
And yet you choose, when you first get paid, to give up 1/3 of your payment.
Yes, because we had another 20 million rand worth of invoices, or he had another 20 million rand of invoices that needed to go in for payment. And he promised to do good on that.
How did you know he had another 20 million rands worth of invoices?
He told me.
And what evidence did he provide in that regard?
He sent me the purchase orders. All these documents that, there's a whole lot of purchase orders that were here. That was proof that he had money still outstanding to him.
Those purchase orders, those long lists of purchase orders, were sent in April.
Yes, but he had not delivered on them.
He had not delivered on them.
I mean, these are previously to these purchase orders, he had more purchase orders. He had a lot of purchase orders. Mr. Matlala had a lot of purchase orders. Hence, in January, he needed more cash to deliver on those purchase orders.
Which purchase orders had he sent you by February when you chose to pay 500,000 to Mr. Maumela?
It was these that were going to come. He knew these were coming.
He may have known that they were going to come, but he hadn't sent them to you, had he?
No, we spoke about them.
You spoke about them. So Mr. Matlala told you, don't worry, I'm getting more purchase orders.
Yes.
And why did you not say to Mr. Matlala, you can pay Mr. Maumela out of your share of the
did
money
do
that
that,
is coming?
Council. I did. I on several occasions told him that he can pay him on his own. He just requested, and he just kept on asking, and then I agreed to do that.
Mr. Carrim, you don't strike me as someone who just lets business partners walk all over him if they request.
Mr. Chancellor, you raised a very important issue. You fingered these two individuals on a murder. You just said that a few minutes ago. So I read this in the media. Yes, I'm a businessman. Yes, I have a family. I have people to protect. I've got kids. At that moment in time, I did not know whether these rumors are true or not.
Well, that's an answer that I can accept, Mr. Carrim. But we'd have saved a lot of time if you had come up and set out with that answer right at the beginning. If your answer is you thought that you might be dealing with a murderer, so you didn't want to say no to him, well, then that's an answer I can accept. Is that your answer?
I'm saying alleged, these stories were in the media. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying I read. So, yes, I was afraid of that.
So, you're saying now that in addition to his asking and asking and asking as a reason for paying 500,000 to Mr. Maumela's chosen payee, Mr. Matlala's chosen payee, Mr. Maumela, you also had some misgivings that the media reports may be true and that you may need to say yes to protect yourself and your family.
Yes.
My concern about that answer is that all of these press reports we were talking about had been circulating broadly since April 2024. So why did you go into business with Mr. Matlala in June 2024 if you'd seen all of those reports?
Like I said, it was at the back of my mind. Now, when our own police, South African Police Service, that must be there to protect us, give Mr. Matlala a contract of 360 million rand, who am I to vet Mr. Matlala when our own police services awarded this man a contract of 360 million? So if he was that dodgy character, why would SAPS then award him a contract for 360 million?
Well, Mr. Carrim, I don't find that answer convincing either, because one of your recurrent refrains here is that Mr. Matlala is constantly looking for people who have connections within the SAPS and within the ministry to exercise influence over his contract.
Chair, I might be mistaken. I don't recall this witness giving that evidence.
Yes, I didn't.
Doing this? Sorry. You believed...
Oh, Mr. Chaskowson, you...
I'll rephrase it. You believed that if Mr. Matlala thought that you could influence the SAPS and you could influence the minister, he would be more likely to pay you.
I did say that. But clearly Mr. Matlala was much more connected in the SAPS than me.
Yes. But the corollary of believing that Mr. Matlala was interested in people who could influence the police must have been a suspicion that Mr. Matlala was looking to manipulate processes within the police and the ministry.
Counsel, you'll have to ask him about that. I can't comment on him.
Yes, but in response to your answer that you were reassured that the police themselves had given Mr. Matlala this contract, so you felt, notwithstanding the reports, that you could go into business with him. I want to put to you that you should have anticipated that there was a possibility that Mr. Matlala had manipulated the processes within the police.
I was not part of that process, Counsel.
I'm not saying that you were part of that process. I'm saying you should have anticipated that he was part of that process.
Counsel, when someone brings you an appointment letter, you don't question the appointment letter. I did not know if there was anything untoward done in that process. I didn't know.
And not only do you enter into a contract with him, or you enter into an agreement with him, but you advance him 10 million rands without a written contract. Why did you do that?
There was a draft agreement set in place. There was a funding agreement set in place. We'd agreed that the funding agreement would be signed after the SLA.
This is the first time you've mentioned this draft funding agreement. Does a copy of this thing still exist?
Yes.
Again, I'd ask that gets sent through to the Commission. But I come back to my earlier question. Are you in the habit of advancing 10 million rands to relative strangers without any written agreement, never mind any security?
At that moment in time, when I met Mr. Matlala, we drew up the agreements. He had the award letter. We then agreed that I'd nominate someone to get onto the bank from my office, which we did, just so that we could get the SLA and then get the funding agreement signed. So we appointed someone from my office onto the bank for notifications as security for releasing funds.
Sorry, you appointed someone?
Yes, from my office. Mr. Matlala allowed me to bring someone and nominate them onto the bank account.
Onto the bank account of Medicare 24?
Correct.
Why hadn't you mentioned that earlier?
We're talking about it now, Council.
That's not my question. Why hadn't you mentioned it earlier?
You're asking about an agreement or any security, so I had someone on the bank account.
You were asked to explain your relationship with Medicare 24. Did you not think it was relevant to know that you had someone with signing powers over their bank account?
It was not signing powers, Council. So it was just notification for the initial stage.
Sorry, notification?
Meaning he's appointed, so any funds coming in, any funds going out, we'd get the notifications of that.
Yes. And who was that person?
Mr. Ziad Khair.
Can you spell that?
Ziyaad.
Mr. Ziad who?
Khair. Khair.
And he received notification of all movements on the account of Medicare 24.
Yes, let me elaborate, Council.
Please do.
We appointed Mr. Khair on the bank account. That lasted not more than a month. Mr. Khair was removed. I then contact Mr. Matlala and ask him.
Removed by whom?
I called, it had to be removed by the owner of the account, obviously. I then call him and ask him what's going on. He then says to me, look, I need someone else. I need an accountant. Can you get me an accountant? Can you get me a CV of someone that's capable? I agree. I then call a friend of mine from Pulukwani, Mr. Faik Mohammed.
Please spell the name.
Faaik. And then Mohammed. Mr. Faik comes with his CV. He goes to Medicare 24. He has a meeting with Mr. Matlala and Mr. Van Wyk. They then agree to appoint him on their board, which is every Monday bi-weekly. Mr. Faik must attend these meetings and they would then remunerate him. They pay him for these services. We agree, Mr. Faik gets appointed. They agree on a remuneration. Mr. Faik sits on this board every Monday for invoicing. That lasts for a month again. Mr. Faik doesn't get paid, he gets removed. He just doesn't get invited to meetings again. Call Mr. Matlala again, he says, no, Mike's got this problem, Mike's got that problem, Mr. Van Wyk's got this problem, but from all the correspondence between Mr. Mohammed and the board, Mr. Mohammed was doing his work. There's chats between Mr. Mohammed and the board of Mr. Mohammed's work that he has to do. But Mr. Mohammed was also removed and not paid. When I raised this with Mr. Matlala, he kept on saying, no, we'll sort it out. And at that time, events were getting up to us because now I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid. My people are getting removed. I'm putting pressure on him to pay. He needs to deliver. And I want him to sign the funding agreement. He kept on saying, yes, we'll sign the agreement, get the SLA. I finally get a copy of the SLA. I call him and he kept on saying, we'll get the funding agreement signed. But the funding agreement never got signed.
Again, this is new information for us, so I just want to get a few particulars. When was Mr. Ziad Khair put on to notifications, and when was he removed?
Council, sometime in July, early July. I think
was that his appointment or his removal?
His appointment.
And he was removed approximately a month later?
I think a month later, yes.
And Mr. Mohammed was then notionally appointed to the board. Would that have been in August?
No, much later.
Much later.
Yeah,
so
later.
there was an interregnum period when you had nobody.
August. He submitted his CV around August, September, somewhere around there. He submitted his CV.
And you say he lasted on the board approximately a month?
Yeah, just over a month. He attended a few meetings and they never called him back for any other meetings.
So when was he nominally on the board, if you were to give us a start date and an end date?
September, sometime mid-September to October. I'd have to check.
So September, October is what you're looking at?
Yeah, I speak under correction, Council. I need to check this.
Please do, and maybe overnight if you can get us some exact dates on those. And if I understood you correctly, although Mr. Matlala had asked for Mr. Mohammed to be there, he effectively gave Mr. Mohammed no access to the affairs of the company.
He did have some access in the beginning. He did have some access in the beginning.
What did you understand that access to be?
From what I understood, he would have some access into the banking system of Medcare 24. I speak under correction, but he had some access into the system of Medcare 24 or the banking.
So he could look to a certain degree into transaction records.
Yes, I
is
think
what you understood.
Yes,
but then possibly in October that access was removed.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the dates, but he was also removed. We just have to get the correct timelines on the dates. Yes, but he was removed.
And after his removal, was there anybody else who was given access at your instance?
I asked, but nothing was done.
Were you not at this stage starting to get rather suspicious of your business partner?
Yes, I was.
So by the end of October, you are concerned that your business partner is not only someone who's alleged to have been involved in tender fraud and possibly murder, but he's also someone who seems not to want to give you access to his accounts.
Yeah, we just have to get the dates correct. It could be later in October. So.
And in that context, would it be fair to say that the only reason, or that the primary reason why you paid 500,000 rands to Mr. Maumela at the instance of Mr. Matlala was that you were scared?
Yes.
And there was one further payment.
Before you move on, Mr. Shaswat, I hear that you say you were scared, but I'm interested to know if you ever asked Mr. Matlala why he had not paid the 750,000 directly to Mr. Maumela. Why did he want this to be done through you or by you?
Yes, Commissioner. I asked him on several occasions that why don't you just pay him yourself from Medcare 24? He just said no, he can't do it from Med 24. He has to do it by me. I must help him. Please, he can't do it from Med 24. But I said, you have signing powers on Med 24. You just have to process it from Med 24. But he kept on insisting that I do it from my vehicle.
That doesn't make sense to me. Did it make sense to you?
At that time, Council, it didn't make sense. Hence, I'm saying I continued to say to him, I can't do this. He continued to persist and say, please help me.
And moving on to the removals of the two people you referred to, you may have dealt with it. You'll tell me if you've done so already. What exactly were the reasons given for the removal of your two people?
Commissioner, on the first one, he just said to me, no, he needs someone that has more accounting experience. It's just not anybody, admin person. So I said, okay, that's fine, that's justifiable.
But this was more for you and not for him. It was you that wanted to see the flows into and out of the account. It was not for his benefit, so it doesn't make sense to me that he should have insisted on somebody that has accounting knowledge. So, can you make me understand? I just don't.
Yeah, I asked him, why must this person be removed? Why do you need someone that's got accounting experience? He then explained to me, no, this person now that's got the accounting experience needs to sit on his Monday board meetings where actual invoices are discussed. That must go in and follow the trail of payment. So he needed someone that had knowledge, accounting knowledge. That was his reason.
But for your purposes, I mean, you were satisfied to see that money had flown in, money was going out or had gone out. You were satisfied with
I was satisfied with that, Council.
Which is why you had set that system up in the first place, not so?
Correct. I was satisfied with that.
So for you, what he said must have been unacceptable if you were happy with what you had set up, correct?
I did raise my concerns. I did say to him, there's no reason to remove this guy.
No. I'm asking you, you were satisfied with what you had set up, correct?
Yes.
So why did you allow him to tell you about the need for someone with accounting knowledge? Why did you agree to that?
He has overall powers on that account, so even if I stage my protest, he can remove that person.
I understand that. That's something else altogether. But about you, why did you agree to that? Because what you had set up was satisfactory for your purposes.
I didn't agree. I didn't agree, but he still removed the person.
But did you reason with him?
Yes.
Along the right lines?
I tried to reason. He'd already removed the person and then requested another person.
All right. Now he's got, or you've given him someone with accounting knowledge, and why was that one removed?
When I went back to him, he said, Mr. Van Wyck's got issues with this guy. I said, can you give me what are the issues? Because this guy works under Van Wyck, and he's not a problem. He's not a troublesome person. He's a young man. He knows what his job is. He knows what he must do. So somehow or the other, he said to me, Mr. Van Wyck didn't like Mr. Mohammed. Didn't take a liking for Mr. Mohammed.
Were you told what problems Mr. Van Wyck had with him?
Yeah, he said Fyke is always late for meetings, but when I talked to Fyke, he's always on time. He was at the meetings regularly. He was on time. He was at the meetings regularly.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Carrim, so this loan is advanced in June. In fact, the first payment, according to your statement, is on the 26th of June. You need to speak up for that.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes. So the first person that you appointed to be a co-signatory to the account that you nominated to the account, they would have been appointed when and removed when? You said for about a month.
July.
So they were removed in July.
No, he was appointed end of June, beginning of July. And we'll just have to check, but
Yes.
there is records, definitely.
Okay. And immediately after they were removed, another one was appointed. Mr. Mohammed was
Yes.
appointed. And you
Mr.
say
Mohammed was appointed at Medcare 24, at the offices.
on the board.
Yes.
So he's not a signatory. He's not a signatory to the account.
We need to check what access he had. I'm sure we can find out what access he had and to what extent was his access, yes.
Yes. My interest really is you've put in 10 million rand into this business or this transaction. Well, it's into the business. What they do with it is to service. That's what you say. Mr. Matlala said to you he needed it to service the tender, but it is into the business Medicare. You've put in 10 million. You expect a return of 10 million rand, so a total of 20 million rand. How is it that you accept that the people that you have nominated so that they are your eyes? You say they are there to see as money comes in, so that they're your eyes. When they are removed, you leave it be. That's the end of the matter. How do you explain that?
No, it wasn't end of the matter, Council. I insisted that I need explanations as to why these people are removed, first of all. And I said to him, it's unacceptable. I said to him, we had an agreement. And when he removed Mr. Fike, there was not an altercation, but we exchanged some harsh words. He did not even remunerate Mr. Mohammed for the services that he produced. He didn't pay him. And I said to him, but it's not fair. We had an agreement. And then I kept on insisting that I need to put Mr. Mohammed back onto this board. He said to me, no, when he restructures the board, Mike is, as the CEO, Mike will now step aside and Mr. Mohammed can come back.
Did he come back, Mr. Mohammed?
We tried on many occasions. Mr. Mohammed has messages between himself and people that were sitting on the board, kept on asking them, when can I come? Send me the link. Can you send me the link for the meetings? Nothing transpired out of
Yes,
that.
so at some point, Mr. Mohammed stops being on this board, and that's really what I would like to get to. At which point does he stop being on this board, and you do not, after that, you have no representative on this board where you put in a huge investment?
End of December.
Of 2024.
Yes.
Okay. So beyond December 2024, you no longer have a representative on this board?
No.
Okay. Now, if Mr. Mohammed was on the board up to December 2024, why would you need to ask Mr. Mkhotsi about payments coming in? Because you've got somebody there you've got a representative on the board who knows about what's happening in the company. Why would you need Mr. Mkhotsi to tell you whether payments are being made or not?
Commissioner, Mr. Mohammed has access to the med system. He knows.
He's got access to
the Medicare system.
Mm-hmm.
When I was asking Brown about payments, Brown Mkhotsi, that was from when Mr. Matlala said payments are in. That was from the SAP system. Mr. Mohammed didn't have access to the SAP system. He only had access to Medicare system.
I understand that. I'm asking you a different question. You would have known or should have known through your person in Medicare that payments, remember what you say in your statement is Mr. Mkhotsi is not paying, Mr. Matlala is not paying you, you're getting nervous, it's now December and you're not receiving any payment. You then ask Mr. Mkhotsi whether Mr. Matlala is getting work. That's the first thing you say. And then 2, whether he's receiving payments. You ask Mr. Mkhotsi that, who's not in SAPS, so he will go to his contact. But you have a person inside. It doesn't make sense to me that you would have a person inside and you don't say to that person, are payments coming in? Is this company getting work?
Yes, I had that information. We knew there was, but we were not getting paid. The only person that could check if we're not getting paid was Mr. Mkhotsi.
No, your statement says you asked Mr. Mkhotsi to find out whether Mr. Matlala is receiving work and whether he's getting payments. That's what you say in your statement.
Yes, Commissioner, I did do that.
It's exactly that I'm querying with you, that why would you ask Mr. Mohotsi for that kind of information when you have a person inside the company?
I had a person in the company, but his access was limited to invoicing only. That's all he could see. He could see an invoice, and when the invoice would go in, that's all.
But he's a board member. I think you've told us that he's a board member.
He's not a board member as such. He sat on the finance board.
Yes.
A finance board.
So you're saying he wouldn't, did you ask him, maybe let's take it one step at a time. You either asked him and he did not give you satisfactory answer, and you can explain why he doesn't give you satisfactory answers. That's why you go to Mr. Mohotsi, or you never asked him. And in your statement, you just speak about Mr. Mohotsi. You say, I got anxious and I asked Mr. Mohotsi to check his work coming in, which I would be surprised if your man didn't know that work is coming in. 2, is he getting paid? I'm surprised that your man doesn't know that.
His main function was only invoices. He sat on the finance board. They would have a bi-weekly meeting where he'd just deal with invoices going in. So he would never know when payments will come, where's the payment stuck. At that time, payments were stuck. Hence, Mr. Mohotsi checked for us where the payments are.
But he would know that work is coming in.
Well, he'd see invoices.
Okay. All right. The second question that I have about this payment, the Tamiz payment, in total, how much did Tamiz receive from Medicare?
The net payment was 1750.
What do you mean when you say the net payment? Is there significance to you using the word net?
No, I'm just saying the final amount that I received was 1,750,000.
That's the total amount that
Yes.
was received. And then you then loaned Mr. Matlala 500.
No,
What did you do?
Commissioner. In total, I received 2.5.
Yes, that's what I wanted to understand.
Yes.
Yes.
And on the request of Mr. Matlala on the 2 payments, I gave 500 and then 250. That's hence Tamiz has a net of 1750.
Okay. So you loaned Mr. Matlala.
No.
the 750.
That money was Mr. Matlala's money. He asked me that I'm paying you. Can you please advance this money to Mr. Maumela on my behalf?
So he used you as a conduit to pay Mr. Maumela. Because if you say it was his money, then it was not a payment to Tamiz, I think is the name of the company. If you say that money from the get-go, when he gave it to you, the 750 at the outset was never meant to be.
No, that was my money. He then requested me to say, can you please, from this monies, take 750, give it to Mr. Maumela, and I'll make good for this money on the next payment that comes in.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to clear with you. You either were paid 2.5 and then Tamiz was paid 2.5 million, and then you lent Mr. Matlala the 750 by paying it to Mr. Maumela, but it's a loan to Mr. Matlala because you don't have a loan agreement with Mr. Maumela. It's either that
Yes.
or let me finish because you've said 2 different things. Or from the get-go, 750 was never meant to be yours. You were paid the difference between 2.5 and 750. The difference was yours. The other bit you were given to pass on to Mr. Maumela. You have to choose which one it is.
I was given 2.5
Yes.
and told to pay 750 to Mr. Maumela.
Okay.
So I received a payment of 1750.
Okay. So you were being a conduit, really, for Mr. Matlala.
Yeah, he asked me to pay and I paid, yes.
I'm asking the nature of that transaction. It's important for me to understand the nature of that transaction. Either you were the company was paid 2.5 million and then it loaned 750.
Commissioner, I was explaining.
No, let me finish, because it's important that you clarify to me. So let me ask my question, and then you can clarify my difficulty. You get Tamiz gets 2.5 million paid to it. It's either that's a repayment to the company, all of it belongs to this company. And then Mr. Matlala says, you know what, I need to give Mr. Maumela 750. Won't you please help me out? Right? And then you help him out. So it's now a loan that Tamiz is making to Mr. Matlala. That's one scenario. The other scenario is you knew and understood as you got the 2.5 million that only 1.75 belongs to Tamiz. The balance is Mr. Matlala asking you to be the conduit to get this money to Mr. Maumela. It's one of the two. So I'm asking you to say
the first one.
Which one of the two is it?
It's the first one.
Okay, so you advanced a loan to Mr. Matlala after.
And he was going to, on the next payment,
Yes.
he then said, I'll do good and sort you out. I'll top it up for you. That's exactly what he said.
Okay. So Tamiz would have a record that shows it has loaned Mr. Matlala or Medicare that 750,000. You nodding?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just one question from me. Were you ever a shareholder of Medicare 24?
No, Commissioner.
So what entitled you to appoint people to its subcommittees or its board? Either Mr. Kerr or who's the other person, Mr. Faik Mohammed?
It's not an official board. It was just the finance board, but it was on the request of Mr. Matlala, not me.
And was it for the purposes of looking after your interests in Medicare 24?
Correct.
But it was informal, it was nothing formal.
We'd have to check if they gave him something. I can check if they gave him some sort of correspondence.
Okay, I'm leaving it there for now.
Can I just clarify something? This Tamiz loan now, this money, the 750 to Mr. Matlala, who asks that it be paid to Mr. Maumela. To whom is the loan made? Is it to Medicare or is it now to Mr. Matlala?
No, it should be Medicare.
So it's a loan to Medicare, the 750. All right, thank you.
Mr. Carrim, I'm a bit confused. I want you to clear my mind. A few questions earlier, when you were engaged by Commissioner Baloyi, you said the 500,000 was Mr. Matlala's money. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah. What I said, Council, is that I received 2.5. 500, Mr. Matlala said, or the money that I was going to pay, he said to me, meaning Mr. Matlala, meaning Medicare's money. If I say Mr. Matlala, it's Medicare's money, because the money came from Medicare. He said to me, pay this monies for me, and on the next payment, I will then reimburse you and I'll top it up for you.
Yes. Okay, let's take it at the level of it being Mr. Medicare's money then. If you say it not necessarily Mr. Matlala's, my confusion is still not cleared. Responding to the very last question by Commissioner Baloyi, you said it was now a loan to Medicare. Which is which?
It's a loan
because
to them.
If it was Medicare's money, you couldn't loan Medicare its own money. Can you please clarify your statements? Or are you withdrawing your earlier statement that it was Medicare's money? It cannot be both.
The money came from Medicare 24.
That I understand.
Mr. Matlala is the director of Med 24.
That too I understand.
So I'm saying it's his money, or it's his money.
No, once paid to you and is now in your hands. That was the context in which Commissioner Baloyi was asking you. The money has now been paid to you or to this entity and is now in this entity's hands. And it's in that context that you earlier said that it was I will no longer say Mr. Matlala's money. I will say it was now Medicare's money. It was Medicare's money.
Yes, so Medicare, in terms of the loan, still owes me that 750,000.
Now, how could it be? How could it continue being Medicare's money when it was now in Tammy's hands? How could it continue being Medicare's money?
Because Mr. Matlala initially wanted me to pay 750,000 of the whole 1.5 million, which I refused.
That doesn't answer my question.
I'm trying to get to...
Please get to an answer.
So, when he gave me the money, he said to me, this is the money. You give Mr. Maumela 750, and on my next payment, Medcare will then do good and give you back your 750.
That doesn't answer my question, which is, once the money has been paid to Tammy's, so it's in Tammy's hands, how does it continue being Medicare's money? That is my question. And what you've just said does not answer that question.
When we agreed on how much he's going to pay, he said to me, I'm paying you 750 on your payments because I want you to give Mr. Maumela money. So he said, I'm increasing. I said, but it still doesn't make sense, Mr. Matlala, because in terms of our agreement, you need to pay me 10% of invoices that were paid. For example, if they invoice 1 million, he must pay me 100,000.
And if to you it was as good as Medicare's money, how could you have retained the 200,000? If Mr. Matlala had said pay 750.
No, I refused to do it on the first payment.
Sorry?
I refused to do it on the first payment. He wanted me to actually take half of the first payment and pay the full 750.
According to your responses, it's Medicare's money anyway, so why retain the 200,000?
Why would I?
According to you, it was Medicare's money anyway. According to the responses you've given.
The 750.
Let me finish. So how could you retain the 200,000?
I didn't retain 200,000.
You did not pay the 750, you paid 500,000.
Yes, because I said to him he needed to pay me
so you
extra.
you actually retained 250. Yeah, please respond.
He initially, that first payment needed to be 2 million. He reduced it to 1.5. And he said, pay Morgan 750. I said, no. He then said, okay, what can you give him? I said, I can give 500 from here, and on the next payment, I'll give another 250.
All right, thank you. I'll leave it there.
There is one issue about this arrangement that I just don't understand, which is Mr. Maumela owes you money. Sorry, Mr. Matlala owes you money. He says he also owes Mr. Maumela money. He needs money to get to Mr. Maumela. Why couldn't he just pay the money to Mr. Maumela himself? Why did he ask you to receive 1.5 million and pay 500,000 to Mr. Maumela? Did he ever explain that to you?
I kept on asking him and I kept on insisting, and I refused on several occasions, and then Mr. Maumela started calling me because Mr. Matlala gave him a commitment that I'll pay him. So now both of these guys were calling me, putting pressure on me to pay this monies. And I said, look, I said to Mr. Maumela, you need to talk to Mr. Matlala about this. I can't talk to you about it because the money is coming from Ed. You need to talk to him. But they both kept on putting me under pressure to pay this money.
No, I can understand that Mr. Matlala says to you, look, I've got lots of people to pay. I owe you 1.5 million. I'm only going to pay you 750, or I'm only going to pay you 1 million. And I'm going to pay the rest to Mr. Maumela, who I also owe. I can understand that. But on what basis Did he say to you, I'm going to pay you the 1.5 million, but you must then pay 500,000 to Mr. Maumela? How did he explain it?
He said to me that he's loaning Mr. Maumela this money. Mr. Maumela needs the money. It's quite urgent. He needs the money for an urgent matter. He then mentioned mother, sister.
Sorry, Mr. Carrim, I think we're talking past each other. I've understood the issue that Mr. Maumela needs the money. But if Mr. Maumela needs the money, why did it have to pass through the Tamiz accounts? Why wouldn't Mr. Matlala pay it direct? And why didn't you, and did you ever ask him, if you want to pay Mr. Maumela, pay Mr. Maumela?
I've said that to the commissioners. I told him several times, you need to pay Mr. Maumela yourself. He just kept on insisting that I must do it.
And why? Did he ever offer you an explanation?
No explanation. He was just adamant.
You see, what worries me here, and I do need to put this to you, is that at the end of the day, unless something dramatic happens with witnesses who are still to come, the position of the evidence leaders, at the very least, will be that the payments coming out of the SAPS contract were proceeds of crime. Don't know if you are aware of this, but SAPS cancelled that contract on grounds of fraud and corruption. And we've already seen some evidence of corruption, and our investigators have seen others. Now, if the payments coming out of the contract are proceeds of crime, there are issues of money laundering that arise. And I want to put to you a series of factors that you need to consider. And then I'm going to ask you if there's anything that you want to say in response to that. So, the various factors, and I'll run through them. You don't have to, I'll tell you where I'm going all the way to the end so that you can understand the question. I don't want to be unfair on you. The first is that we know that SAPS cancelled the contract on grounds of fraud and corruption. The second is that you knew that Mr. Matlala had access to people inside SAPS who would furnish him with payment screens and other internal SAPS documents. The third is that you knew that Mr. Matlala wanted your assistance inter alia because he thought you had access to people inside SAPS and the minister who could influence matters relating to his contract. The next factor is that you knew Mr. Matlala was reported as having been involved in widespread tender fraud at Tembisa Hospital. You also knew that he was alleged to have been involved in the murder of Babita Dekaran, who was trying to expose that fraud. Now, if the contract was in fact procured by fraud and corruption, then the proceeds of that SAPS Medicare 24 contract are proceeds of crime. And that raises an issue under Section 5 of POCA, the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. What Section 5 says is that a person commits a criminal offense, a money laundering offense, if they ought reasonably to have known that certain amounts were proceeds of crime, and if they conclude a transaction which is likely to have the effect, and I'm quoting, of concealing or disguising the nature, source, location, disposition, or movement of those proceeds, or any interest which anyone may have in respect thereof. Now, one of the many issues which this Commission is going to have to consider at the end of the day is whether to recommend money laundering prosecutions under Section 5 of POCA against either yourself, Mr. Matlala, or Mr. Maumela, arising to the payments that were sent to Lutaga via Tamiz. And in fairness to you, I think you need to be given an opportunity to say what you have to say. to persuade the Commission why it shouldn't make that recommendation, why it shouldn't regard the channeling of Medicare 24 payments and proceeds to Lutaga via Tamiz as a contravention of the money laundering offence in Section 5 of POCA. So is there anything you would want to say in that regard?
Counsel, I had not done this with any intention of committing any fraud. I just got caught in a web of people. I was just doing my business as a businessman. I looked at opportunities. I saw these opportunities. I took them. Yes, obviously I made a bad choice after. But I'm saying at no point did I ever want to be part or promote any of these that you are raising. And for me, these were business transactions. I went into business. I thought I was doing it with honorable people. And yes, maybe it was not the case, but at no point did I ever want to be part of any wrong that was being happening. As far as the SEPS contract is concerned, when he brought me these letters, I never knew that there was underhand stuff done there. So once you have an appointment letter, all processes were followed. For me, it was a business transaction. I looked at the opportunity. I saw the opportunity. As a businessman, I took the opportunity. Yes, I should have picked up my guard when my people were being removed and not removed. But at that point, I was already into the contract. I needed to salvage something. I needed to grab onto something, my money. For me, I just wanted to get my money. And at some point, I even said to Mr. Matlala, if I could just get my capital back and you continue with this, because this is not going to work for me. We're struggling to get payments. You keep on complaining. You keep on having issues. I can't do this. And obviously with the Brown Mokgotsi issue, it just became too much. But yes, that's what I have to say.
Can I ask another question in relation to to the periods where you had some sight of financial affairs inside Medicare 24?
Mr. Chairperson, I had wanted to just clarify some facts about this Tamiz payment. Can I do that now, or you'd rather go where you're going with that?
Certainly, Commissioner. In fact, what I was going to do with what I was going to ask Mr. Carrim to do, and I actually forgot, was to go to locate those payments for you, so that you actually understand when the payments were made, when the payments and the like. If that would be helpful, I can do it.
Please do that, because that's what I wanted to clarify.
Sorry, Mr. Carrim, we have done this right at the beginning, but I'm going to ask you to do it again. Can we just clarify that the first payment from Medicare to Tamiz was a 1.5 million payment on the 4th of February 2025.
Yeah.
On the same day, Tamiz paid 500,000 to Lutaga.
Yeah.
We have this in the bundle. Perhaps we can just follow it in the bundle. Can the witness be taken to the document in the bundle?
Sorry, document?
That you're referring to, which shows the payment.
Yes, it's pages 473 and sorry, let me get
And is that file 2 of 2?
That is file 2 of 2.
That's on 469.
I have 473, I have. I mean, there is a table of payments from Tamiz to Lutaga elsewhere in the bundle. But the specific payments that we're talking about are on bank statements that are on 473 to begin with.
Are you there, Mr. Carrim?
Yes.
Sorry.
Page 500, is that the summary you're looking for?
500 is a summary of all payments to Lutaga from Tamiz. The last two payments of those, 4th of February and 22nd of March, are the two payments that come out of Medicare payments. Is that correct, Mr. Carrim?
Yes.
And the Medicare, that's page 500, and the Medicare payments in question are the 1.5 million payment on the 4th of February, which is page 473.
Yeah.
And a second payment of 1 million, which was made on the 17th of March, which inexplicably is not included in the bundle because the relevant bank statement jumps from the 21st of February to the 22nd of March. So, but I think it's common cause that is the second payment on the 17th of March. What we can do is we can just make the missing, it's a single page bank statement, we can make that available to Mr. Carrim and his legal team if they need it.
And ask my question, the clarification that I wanted. So you paid Mr. Maumela from the very first payment that you got from Mr. Matlala.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
That's what you did. Now, and you explained that you paid because Mr. Matlala and Mr. Maumela were putting you under pressure. They kept calling, make payment. Do I recollect your evidence properly?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you look at, we're back to the WhatsApp messages, and I just want to locate your evidence in these WhatsApp messages. So at page 5, starting at page 5, but it overlaps to the next page of those messages, is that screenshot that shows payments will be made.
Mm.
And then Mr. Matlala says to you, you can send account number. You see where I'm reading?
Yeah.
Okay, at page 6. And then at the bottom, something is sent to you. And then at page 7, right at the top, you say received. This is on the 4th at 15:13. You see that? Received. Yeah. As I understood it, you were confirming received payment.
Yes.
Okay. And then that is at 15:13. Then you have a call again at 15:13 still. And the next time you say Morgan is sorted, it's 15:17. At which point do you say Mr. Matlala and Mr. Maumela were each calling you, pressuring you to pay?
No, this was before these payments came, before he paid me.
Yes.
We were talking on not exactly on this date. I'm saying before the payment come, Mr. Maumela was putting pressure on Mr. Matlala.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, Mr. Matlala then says to him, he must call me. He was calling me as well. I said the payment's not there. There's no money yet. Can't pay if there's
But
no
why
money.
would Mr. Matlala say he must call you when he knows you don't have payment yet? It doesn't make sense.
Yes, but he kept on telling him that. He said, no, speak to Carrim, speak to Carrim. Then Morgan would call me and say, when is the payment happening? Matlala said to Morgan, I have the inside information, supposedly. So that's why Morgan kept on calling, when is the money coming? I need the money. When is the money coming? I need the money.
So even before you received payment, you had agreed?
They knew already that payment is coming.
Yeah, I'm asking a different question. Even before you received payment, even before Tamiz received payment from Medicare, you had already agreed that it would work this way, this scheme would work. You would pass on money to Mr. Matlala, to Mr. Maumela?
Yes,
Even
the
before
discussion
you
started.
received
Yes, the discussion started before the payment came in. They were putting pressure before the payment. They wanted to convince me before the money comes in. They wanted to convince me that I must pay this money.
So your answer is, before the money came in, there was already an agreement that
Yes.
you're going to do this. All right, thank you.
Mr. Carrim, I just want to deal with the issue of that limited period where you had people with some sight into Medicare accounts. And your rough estimate of that period is July, August 2024, and then again possibly the month of September, maybe spilling into October.
Under correction, might be October or November, December. We just need to clear.
Sure. Did anyone ever report to you that payments have started to flow? And I want to play open cards with you because
yes, they did tell me payments were coming in. At that time, Mr. Matlala didn't want to pay me. He then said to me he's just trying to recoup some of his investment that he'd already put into the site establishment. So he was already getting paid, yes.
So you knew he was already getting paid, but you essentially cut him some slack?
Well, he asked for a breather, yes, for 1 or 2 payments, just to recover.
And were you aware that the payments continued from September all the way through each month until the first time that you got paid at the end of January? Well, you got paid in February in respect of payments that were authorized at the end of January?
No.
So you knew that some payments were being made. You didn't know, and
all, yeah.
You didn't know all of them. And at what point? Well, you can't tell me at this stage because you need to get specific dates, but you'll give us those dates tomorrow.
Yes.
As to when you lost sight of movements on the Medicare accounts. Chair, I'm about to move to another topic, and I'm mindful of the fact that Mr. Carrim and his legal team are wanting to break the fast, and so I don't want us to run past 4. I'm in your hands. I can continue, but then we will be stuck overnight in the middle of a subject.
Can we proceed until 4 p.m., Mr. Banner?
How long is the next topic likely? Our learned friend indicates he won't finish the topic.
My guess is we're looking probably at about half an hour, but I can't be sure.
Without binding him, how long does he think he'll be tomorrow? If we adjourn now, we likely...
No, we will certainly finish tomorrow.
My co-commissioner has a few questions. Let's see how far that goes.
I certainly will not take 30 minutes. Just a few clarifications. Mr. Carrim, this you say that I'm trying to understand the nature of your relationship or interaction with Mr. Matlala before you advanced this 10 million rand to Medicare. And in your statement, this is how you describe it. You say at paragraph 6, at some stage, to the best of my recollection, during June 2024, I received a telephone call from Mr. Matlala requesting a meeting with me. I know Vusi as we both operate in the private sector, in the private security sector. I'm director and you name your company, Fusion Tactical Team there. Where you say, and then the next, and that's what really makes me want to ask you this question, you say, prior to this, to the best of my recollection, I had no engagement, relationship or dealings with Vusi beyond knowing in a general sense who he is. Now, paragraph 7 suggests that you just knew him by name as someone who's in your industry, and had nothing to do with each other. That's what you're conveying in paragraph 7?
Yes.
Is that the
Yes.
accurate reflection of the nature of your relationship?
Yes.
And then please explain this, which is difficult for me to understand, that he calls you in June out of nowhere. You have no prior relationship with him. And then he tells you, I've got a contract, I need money. And then you give him 10 million rand there's no written agreement at that point. You start paying into the account. There is no written agreement for 10 million rand, which maybe in your world it's nothing. In my world, 10 million rand is a lot of money to part with without any document, that a legally binding document that defines the relationship. So that's one, that you enter, you provide money. Not only do you agree, but you also start paying. You have nothing in writing. 1. 2, apart from telling us that repayment would be made at the equivalent of 10% of all payments until the 20 million is paid up, you don't say to us when those payments, what was agreed, in fact. And I got confused when you start getting anxious in December, because nowhere do you, for example, say, I know he was receiving money. That's why I started becoming anxious. There's this gap in information in your statement. How do you explain advancing 10 million rand to somebody that you have no prior business relationship with? You know him just by name and that he's in the same business as you, and you do so without a binding agreement to protect your interests. Can you just explain that in a way that makes sense to me, at least?
Yes, I can, Commissioner. Sorry. So when he approached me initially and he showed me this appointment letter that he had this contract, we spoke on several issues. We spoke about security. What security does he have, or does he have any security? Did he go to the banks? No. We then agreed, let's do a site visit. I went to his premises in Mainland, like I've said in my statement, and I did a full spectrum site visit where I was then also introduced to Mr. Michael van Wyk, who's the overall CEO of Med24. He owns this company. Mr. van Wyk has been in the health industry for 20 years. So a lot of experience. And when I did my walkabout in the Med24, when I walked around on the floor, I saw blood banks. He had all the blood banks there. He had doctors on site. He was ready to go. I was quite impressed. Screens, the system was ready to go. And that gave me some comfort. And then I had a conversation with Mr. van Wyk. He's been in the business for 20 years. He then assured me that he's going to be overseeing this project with all his experience. He'll be doing all of this. So I had some sort of comfort from that. So when we came back and we agreed on the terms, we then agreed, okay, fine, I'll do this. He was in a hurry because he needed to enforce the contract. He needed to deliver on the contract. I saw that as an opportunity. As a businessman, I saw an opportunity. I thought, hey, you know what, here's a good deal. I can probably get my terms, and those were my terms.
What did you know about the financial health of this company into which you're paying money? And let me play open cards with you. I ask you these questions because I'm skeptical at this point about your evidence that says you had nothing to do with Mr. Matlala until June 2024, when out of the blue he calls you to say, I have a business, I have this tender, give me money, and just like that, you give him money without protecting yourself with legally binding documents. So I have that skepticism about it. That's why I'm asking these kind of questions. You put in money, 10 million rand. What did you know about the financial health of Medicare that you were prepared to risk your 10 million rand?
Look, it was 360 million on his appointment letter. So that was what also attracted me as a business person. I look at the numbers. And I looked at my investment because initially he wanted 20. I said, I can't do 20, I can do 10. And Commissioner, even myself, when I get other deals, for example, if I don't have the capacity, I go out and look for investors. Somehow he reached out to me. Yes, how he reached out to me, it could have been Brown that sent him to me. It could be Mr. Maumela that sent him to me and said, phone this guy, he'll probably invest in your business. But when he presented his case, when I did my site visit, when I interviewed the CEO, I was convinced that this will happen. This contract is a good contract. We then agreed that we'll draw up paperwork, but we will do that as soon as the SLA comes. And according to him, the SLA was supposed to come in July, some mid-July. He gave me a date of mid-July. That SLA only came out in October. And I had that funding agreement ready for him to sign.
Did you ask him in June 24 when he comes to you how it is that he's coming to you? Here's someone that you have absolutely no relationship with. You know nothing other than the vague fact that he's in the same industry as you. Did you ask him how does he target you for this kind of thing?
He said to me that he sees my security companies, he sees my vehicles all over. He sees that I'm someone who's quite prominent in the security space, and this is an opportunity. So he then said to me, he got my numbers from one of my security guys, head of security, who's on the website of Fusion. He phoned that guy, asked him for my numbers, and that's how I got my numbers, and he called me.
So he came to you cold, basically. It's for all intents and purposes. It's someone walking from the street, knocking at your door and saying, I need 10 million rand, and you give it to him in these circumstances.
Commissioner, when he came to me, he didn't come from the street. He came in a Rolls Royce with about 25.
From the street, I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, he came
from the street as in,
yes,
this is not an acquaintance. This is not someone that you have done business with. This is not someone that you have even met socially, because that's what you're telling us. You have absolutely nothing to do with him. All you know is he's a player in the industry in which you have a company. So I mean streets in that way.
Yes, he was very impressive with his first appearance. I'm saying he came with maybe a big entourage. I think there was maybe like 25, 30 bodyguards. He came with the whole entourage. So I saw capacity. I saw someone that knows what he's doing. I saw someone that knows business. And for me, that was impressive.
Thank you.
Can I use this opportunity to help you clarify something you say in your conclusion? In 51.2, I think you were responding to a question whether you had any relationship with the Minister of Police. And then in 51.2, you say the contract was awarded during the tenure of the previous minister, Minister Carrim. And then you say, it is clear that it is impossible and in fact untrue that you could have persuasive influence over two different ministers. Now that suggests that you had influence over one and not two. So can you just clarify that for me?
No, I had no influence over any of these ministers.
Do you have any relationship, or did you have any relationship with Minister Carrim?
No, not at all.
But you knew him?
Well, we know him from TV and from being the former commissioner of police.
So you didn't know him socially?
No, not at all.
Thank you.
It's something different. You say in paragraph 10, that's where you explain why you approached Mr. Mokgotsi. You say he's known as someone who is connected. What do you know about his connection or his being connected? And in the context of this transaction, what do you know about his connections?
Commissioner, he didn't say much, but he always said to me, we know him as a person that's connected everywhere. You need something done, you talk to Mr. Mokgotsi. You need to get something done, you need to find out something, you call Mr. Mokgotsi. He knows everybody. He just knows everybody.
Well, our particular interest here is his connection to the SAPS.
Yes,
let me finish. To the SAPS, but also to politicians. And you quite carefully say he's known as someone who is connected. So I would like you to unpack that. What do you know about the level and extent of his connections?
Look, Commissioner, for a long time he's been at various structures. He coordinates campaigns of the ANC. He's very active. And he said to me no, I'm connected in the police. I know the generals, I know everybody in the police. I said, okay, fine. And he made that statement.
This is before this transaction.
Yeah.
He has told you before that he knows the
long time ago, not long, but maybe a year. But every time you see him, I mean, he knows everybody. He tells you, I know this, I know that. He just knows everybody.
Everybody, including politicians.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
I think for the record, I must mention that the ruling has been, or rather copies of it have been furnished to Mr. Carrim's legal representatives, the evidence leaders and my co-commissioners, and I've given instructions for it to be uploaded onto the Commission's website. So for those interested, it will be available there.
Sorry, Chair, there were just some documents that Mr. Carrim was going to look for overnight. The one was his 2-pager agreement with Mr. Maumela in relation to the mining venture. Second was the draft agreement that he had with Medicare 24. The third was details of the accountant who instructed that Mr. Matlala should pay Tamiz, not Ziggy. And the fourth was he was to consult with his attorneys in relation to accessing his WhatsApps from 2024-25 with Mr. Mokgotsi. And I would ask also with Mr. Maumela. If we can just get an answer on those tomorrow morning.
Have you managed to itemize all those, Mr. Bana?
We have.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.